Imagine designing one firearm that changes history. Now imagine designing dozens. Pistol carried by soldiers for over 70 years. Machine gun still serving after more than a century. Shotgun copied around the world. Rifle that transformed modern warfare. One man accomplished all of that. It was John Moses Browning, a quiet inventor from Utah whose ideas became the blueprint for modern firearms. Even today, more than 100 years after many of his designs were created, manufacturers across the globe still rely on principles he invented. This is the incredible story of the man every gunmaker tried to copy. John Moses Browning was born in 1855 in Ogden, Utah. His father was a skilled gunsmith who operated a small workshop. Unlike most children of his era, John wasn't fascinated by toys. He was fascinated by mechanisms. By the age of 13, he had already built his first working rifle. People immediately recognized something unusual. The young Browning didn't just repair firearms. He improved them. He constantly asked one question: how can this work better? That simple mindset would eventually change firearms forever. In 1883, Browning patented a new lever-action rifle. The design was so impressive that executives from Winchester Repeating Arms personally traveled to Utah. They bought the rights. That single meeting began one of the most successful partnerships in firearms history. Over the next 2 decades, Browning designed rifle after rifle for Winchester. Many became instant classics. Winchester Model 1886, Model 1892, Model 1894. Even today, collectors consider them among the finest lever-action rifles ever built. While Browning had mastered rifles, he wasn't finished. At the time, most shotguns required manual operation. Browning believed the gun itself should perform much of the work. His answer became the Browning Auto 5, introduced in 1902. It was the world's first commercially successful semi-automatic shotgun for hunters, sport shooters, and soldiers alike. It changed everything. The Auto 5 remained in production for nearly 100 years. Countless manufacturers later developed semi-automatic shotguns using ideas Browning introduced first. If Browning had invented nothing else, his place in history would already be secure. Because in 1911, the United States Army adopted one of the most famous handguns ever created, the M1911. Reliable, powerful, simple, its .45 caliber stopping power quickly earned the trust of American troops. The M1911 became an icon. More than a century later, manufacturers around the world still produce Browning-inspired 1911 pistols. Few handgun designs have enjoyed such remarkable longevity. Perhaps Browning's greatest masterpiece wasn't a pistol, it was a machine gun. He developed the M2 Browning .50 caliber machine gun, known simply as the Modus. Its power was extraordinary. It could engage vehicles, aircraft, fortifications, even light armor. Most military equipment eventually becomes obsolete. The M2 never really did. More than 100 years later, many armies, including the United States military, still use Browning's original design. That is almost unheard of in military technology. But what made Browning different? It wasn't just creativity. It was simplicity. His firearms were reliable, easy to manufacture, easy to repair, easy to operate. Those qualities made his designs attractive to companies around the world. Many internal mechanisms found in modern pistols, rifles, and shotguns can trace their roots directly back to Browning's engineering. Whether manufacturers realized it or not, they were often building on his ideas. John Moses Browning passed away in 1926. Fittingly, he died while working at a drafting table in Belgium. Even in his final moments, he was still designing firearms. His lifetime output was astonishing. More than 120 firearm patents, dozens of iconic weapons, designs used across 2 world wars, the Cold War, and well into the 21st century. Very few inventors in any field have shaped history so completely. Today, collectors admire Browning firearms. Hunters still trust them. Competitive shooters still use them. And soldiers around the world continue relying on weapons inspired by his ideas. More than a century later, John Moses Browning remains the gold standard of firearms design. Not because people simply copied his work, but because they never stopped learning from it. If you enjoyed this journey into firearms history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. Which Browning designed firearm do you think had the greatest impact on history? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of Weapons Vault.